Alexa and Namir here on Tarot and Witchery today, and I want to talk to you about autumn pairings. Yay! Decks for autumn. Just making sure she's not setting herself on fire. I have candles everywhere here today, and that's probably going to go on. I love the dark half of the year. I love gray days. That's why I live in Oregon. I absolutely adore rain and cold weather and lack of sun. And we have officially arrived here on the farm and things are starting to shift. And so for me, it's time for those autumnal decks. What I decided to do on this video is to show you 4 pairings, each a tarot and oracle, and then to show you how I work with them and the reason why I chose those decks. I think I did an autumn decks video like years ago, and I kind of went on colors of autumn. But this time I went on what it is that I'm working with during the autumnal time, which I call maybe the Samhain season, the fall season. So I'm sharing decks that express the things that I'm working on during this time, how I work on them with some mock readings, which actually turned out to be so spot on. I can't believe it. And you'll see different techniques on how to use the cards together, but also just like how I read, and maybe this will spark something within you on new ways that you can read. Just a reminder that I'm going to give you the names of the decks while I am doing the video, so you can just push rewind and listen for that if you missed it. Before I jump into it, I just want to let you know that I have a new website. So if you are getting my newsletter right now and you have not signed up with this link down below to get the brand new newsletter, next week will be your last newsletter. That's it. It's over. It's done. You have to sign up down below again. And I have a free learning library on there that's really cool. And every week I send out like spreads or some kind of witchy tip or a blog on how to read with the cards or different types of divination. I think there's really cool information in that newsletter. So sign up down below for that. Deck pairing number 1 is Anna Terrain's Tarot of the Abyss and Cheyenne Zarate's Wild Woman Oracle. I do have to admit that I like the colors of this in fall. I feel as though when I get to the fall time and I'm in a really liminal space, beautiful backs on this, I'm in a really liminal space where I'm needing to do work that grounds me and helps me to really assess what I've done in the last year and where I'm headed. Before I get to the winter months, I just kind of need that. Here's the last card that I got, and it was Sanctuary. Anna's deck, the Tarot of the Abyss, is a very clear reader for me. I feel as though it creates a very clear, concise description of what is going on. And for that reason, I actually like to start with the Wild Woman Oracle. I prefer to kind of use this as my jumping off card. So I might really be looking at how it is that I'm needing to delve into reflection for that time. Oops, I hope I don't have too many upside down. So I might ask, what is it that I need to really reflect on during this time of my life? Because I find that what I want to do is I really want answers. I want to expound. I want to open this up like a little treasure chest. I want to open up what the Wild Woman Oracle says to me. And I've said this before. This is one of my favorite decks, honestly, is this deck. Wow, I just can't win for losing, can I? I find that these cards are like a treasure chest. And so I'll break this out, and then maybe I'll even do a reading where I put the cards. Let's do this. Let's actually show you what I would do. So shuffle the cards, which I don't have them all. Let's get a full deck. Although I'm not always working with a full deck myself. So what is it that I need to look at during this time? What do I need to reflect on during this season? Okay, and so I got, Morgana, Goddess of Death. So, oh gosh, that's like perfect for this time of year. And so I'm probably going to put this right here, and I'll figure out where I want to set the cards as soon as I look at the card and start thinking, okay, what comes to mind for me? This time of year, the leaves falling and releasing themselves, the trees releasing their leaves in order to not be maintaining a bunch of stuff as they go through the winter. Like they need to get rid of all of the energy that they would be expending on maintaining those leaves. And so that's just my first hit. So that's what I'm going to go with. And so the question that comes up for me is, what is falling away during this time of transition and reflection? Okay. 7 of Cups. Ooh, perfect. I mean, so I am such a fan of getting this card because it really lets me know that illusions are at hand. And so what is falling away? My illusions. Whenever the 7 of Cups comes along for me, my feet aren't on the earth. I'm not grounded. My head is up in the clouds. I'm looking for something outside of myself. And I really need to allow myself to get grounded again and go within instead of thinking that something out there is going to do that for me. And so that's what's falling away. My illusions about what it is that I'm actually wanting to do or be in this world are falling away. Okay, so then I might ask myself, how can I partner with death during this time? Okay. King of Pentacles. To me, it's really get grounded and get into what flows out of that place of groundedness and personal wisdom. So allowing myself to really, again, sink into the earth and really feel the power of that earth energy, the power of being grounded within myself in order to let the new season roll out in a way that feels secure, like it's holding me. I really feel like the King of Cups is that energy that has a lot of long-term plans that are in place. And he's very secure in his authority, his sovereignty, his power, and what he does and what he plans and how he lives flows out of that. So this is just a sample reading there, just a little example of how I would use these 2 decks together. Again, Anna Turan's 2 Reigns, Tarot of the Abyss, and Cyan Zarate's Wild Woman Oracle. Next up is the Brady Tarot. This time of year, I am really into working with my ancestors. It's the songs and the stories of my life and what's deep within me that really call out to me. And so I'm wanting something that, ooh, look at this. I've got something going on here. I'm really wanting something that's going to bring me to a place where I can hear my ancestors and what they have to say to me. And also just a deck that's really going to help me feel rooted in what goes beyond the now. So world upon world upon world. And this is such an ancestral deck for me. So really quickly, speaking of ancestral decks, I'm relaunching my Ancestral Divination course right now. There's a link to it down below in the description box. It has 20 audio lessons, all sorts of spreads. We do 6 different types of divination. We have 3 live circle meetings, chats, and breakout rooms that we do together. Along with, you get a one-on-one with me every month via email to kind of talk about your personal path. I've got 10 spots left, so check that out down below if you're interested. I love that this is a wood block deck, and it's an animal deck. So if you're not into animal decks, you might not be into it. The book is amazing. It's written by Rachel Pollack. This is, I think, the last thing that she did before she passed on. And this deck just reads so clearly. This is great for path working, great for path working. 10 of Swords here, look at that, finality. Really works really well, but it's deep. It's very intense, and it does bring me deep within myself to where I start pondering aspects of my life and myself that I need something that's just a little bit lighter after I do a reading with it. And that is why I use the Divine Energy Oracle by Sonia Choquette. These do not match at all. I will just let you know right now. But I love the simple messages from, and of course this is all upside down too. Wow. I love the simple messages from this deck that allow me to get that clear piece of final information when I'm done with a reading. So let's do this really quick. We're going to do this totally mock. So, let's just pretend that I'm working with my ancestors at my ancestral altar, and I'm working on clearing some kind of blockage that I've identified in my lineage. Maybe it's a scarcity mindset. I don't know. Let's see. What kind of blockage do I need to work on clearing from my ancestral lineage? Ooh, look, I got scarcity. So I do feel like that's really real for me. I have a scarcity mindset from my family. I do feel like that's a message that was passed down to me. So now, how can I lean in to healing this message of scarcity in my family line? Do all things in moderation. Okay, so you may think that's really counterintuitive, but for me, this totally makes sense. I have a tendency, because I come from a scarcity mindset where my parents were like, everything comes to those who wait as long as they work while they're waiting. Hard work pays off. You get what you work for. I mean, everything was about work, 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 do it better. And so I have a tendency to go and I super hyper focus on things. I'm neurospicy. And so I don't do things in moderation. Instead, I'm just like, I have to do everything to the nth degree. And if I don't do it to the nth degree, I'm never going to be successful. And that's a scarcity mindset. So for me, getting this card, do all things in moderation, really, really makes sense. So again, I love the way these two work together. This is the Brady Tarot and the Divine Energy Oracle. Man, these readings are really feeling dead on. This is one of my favorite times of the year to get out and walk in the woods. And so I have Three Trees Oracle here. The Thistledown Oracle. Just trying to get all of them out. The Thistledown Oracle by Three Trees Tarot. And it is another animal deck. Oh, it's so pretty. And it has keywords. One of the things I like about this is to be eco-friendly, because this is an eco-friendly deck. She does have the keywords explained on 2 cards. I think this is still available. I'm 99.9% sure that this is still available. It's got a dragon in there for those of you who are dragon lovers or have an affinity for dragons. It's just beautiful. The illustrations are gorgeous. You could, of course, use this with the Oak, Ash, and Thorn Tarot. And I think she actually has a new tarot out that I do not have. And so you could use it with that. But I kind of like to use it with my good old Rider-Waite-Smith. This is the original tarot in brown. And it's sparkly. I like the contrast. This is really earthy. My brown keeps this earthy, and this keeps it comfortable. This for me is taking it a step down. This for me is just relaxing in my practice a bit and allowing my brain not to work so hard, because when I read just a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, I just don't have to think about it. And so you might want to think about, what kind of deck do I have that's just easy during this time? This is a time of transition. Fall's a time of transition. It's a time of shedding. It's a time of releasing. It's a time of celebration as well. And so bringing some ease into this time, I think, is an important discipline, especially out here on the farm, because I'm like right now, this week, I've got to bring in 60 trees worth of pears. And, 40 trees of apples. I've got to bring all that in. So there's a lot of hard work going on for me during this time. So having something easier to do. And you know how I might use this deck is I might want to use this for an omen walk. I don't know if you're into omen walks. I'm going to do a video for this on my other channel, Natural Witchery, if you don't know about that channel. But I might decide to go on an omen walk and look for an omen. I might even take the deck with me If I'm feeling bold, what was that in there? Oh. If I'm feeling bold, I'll take the deck with me. And when I see my omen, when I receive it, I'll draw a card. That'll tell me something else about the omen. And I know that I'm doing this ahead of time, so my energy is attuned to this deck and the fact that I'm going to be working with it. I don't have an omen to tell you about, but this one got me look up. So maybe I'm looking for an omen and I can't find one. Look up is what I've got. And then when I get back, or I could take this deck into the woods with me as well, but I tend not to like to carry heavy decks with me everywhere. I could come back and I could do a reading on, looking up what does that mean for me, on this walk this time, and pull something. This is kind of good. Nine of Cups is really about gratitude, about reveling in what we have and swimming in the emotions that feel good and kind and loving and supportive to me. It's a sense of abundance and even a sense of just pure enjoyment. And, sometimes when we're out in life, we get really busy. We're so busy walking the path that we're looking down and we're looking at what we're doing, and every day becomes a slog. And so, maybe this came to tell me, look up and enjoy it. I always say this, when you're out on a hike or when things get tough in life, make sure that you stop and look up from the trail and look around and enjoy what you actually do have. So I do like the way these two decks work together. Again, that's the original tarot. You can get this on Etsy in different colors. It's kind of cool. So whatever your jam is, like brown is one of my favorite colors. So I was really excited to get it. And then the Thistledown Oracle by 3 Trees Tarot. Again, 3 Trees Tarot, and that is available on their website. Last but not least is MJ Cullinan's The Crow Tarot. This time of year is a time when I just feel like it is the time of the crows. Whether it's that All Hallows Eve, that Samhain sort of feeling that comes around, I like to delve into that sense of dropping into the other world, the underworld, or what we might call in Welsh mythology, a Nuvan, the place of the deep. And so this just really goes deep for me. So I do love MJ Cullinan's The Crow Tarot. So I might ask myself, what is below the surface that I need to see right now? We're going to go deep, right? Ooh, 10 of Wands. This is actually so dead on for me right now, you guys. I've just been revamping my website. Things are crazy. I am feeling burnout. It's right there. Like I'm on the verge of burnout and I know it. Going back to that do everything in moderation thing. I need to do that more. I really need to do that. So here I've drawn this, and now the deck that I've chosen to go with it is the Woodland Wardens deck by Jessica Rue. I love this deck. I absolutely love the backs. They're just so beautiful. So, this is 2 animal decks together. I know I've shown a lot of animal decks. I really feel the animistic energy in the fall. Like it really calls to me. I wonder what season calls to you the most, where it speaks to you. Maybe it's summertime. Maybe it's the flowers and the sun and the heat and all that speak to you. But for me, the fall. Love this. So, all right. So I'm going to ask myself, how can I move away from burnout? And I got the Salamander and Black Pepper, Inspiration. I totally have a book called The Book of Beasties that I read up on animals all the time because I'm constantly running into animals when I'm out on my omen walk. But the salamander is a representation of fire. And I find that really interesting because here I am over here and I'm kind of at this burnout, right? And then it's telling me to find inspiration. off the top of my head before I pull out the book and read what it says, because I do really love the Woodland Warden's book. It's very simple. And at the end, I'm going to get a little affirmation on there. That's good. But I think to myself, I need to find something else to pull my focus away. Like I'm hyper focusing too much on what I'm getting done right now. And I need something that kind of delights me, that sparks me in a very different way than work does. So that's kind of what I'm hearing. And I just encourage you always to, before you open the book up, to get your own hit on what is going on in the card. And 17. It says, inspiration. Symbols of fire and heat, the salamander and black pepper call us to be full of energy and inspired. Both Aristotle and Pliny the Elder wrote of the salamander's ability to withstand flames, and the creature's association, which fire is echoed in ancient Greek myth. Black pepper or peppercorns has an earthy flavor with a spicy kick, making it perfect match for the fire-friendly salamander. So upright, it says, a new opportunity awaits to fulfill. You must remain inspired, applying your full energy to your creative endeavors. How do I invite and incorporate more inspiration into my life? Okay, so actually now I'm going to take this a completely different direction, okay? So instead of finding something else to inspire me, it's not that. I think I need to go back to my work and find the inspiration. Like, why am I doing it? Why is this important to me? What is it that inspired me to start this project? And I think by going back and regrounding myself, that earthy black pepper, by regrounding myself in that, I can go move away from burnout, because it's becoming a slog. It's becoming like, I've got to get this done. Oh my gosh. And it's just starting to weigh on me. It's becoming this heavy burden to carry that's very, very difficult. I hope one of the things you took out of this reading is that sometimes we can change directions from what we thought and move in a completely different way. And that feels so much more accessible to me. Like that feels like a yes, because I have to do this. And the idea of getting inspired about something else feels daunting. Oh my gosh, I just have too much to do right now. If you made it to the end of the video, give me autumn leaves down below in the comments and let us know what kind of wonderful autumn decks you work with and why. If you're wanting to see that Woodland Warden's deck, I have a review on that. So it's in my Before You Buy series. So you can check that out. Before You Buy Woodland Wardens. I think this time of year is such a great time to really dive into what's going on below the surface, to allow ourselves to look at things that honestly we might not usually do, because I think the earth is really supporting that. If you're on the southern end of the equator, then I think even it's a great time for reflection, because you're beginning to sow and push and do.